I'd like to open up the Tiverton Town Council meeting of January 8th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk.
Councilor Paull?
Present.
Councilor Edwards?
Present.
Councilor Janik? Present. Councilor Edwards?
Present.
Councilor DiMederos?
Present.
Councilor Milbourne?
Present.
Councilor Burke is absent.
Consent agenda. Approval of Town Council minutes, November 30th, special session, Councilors Milbourne and Paull abstain. December 11th, regular meeting. December 11th, executive session. December 21st, special session, Councilor Edwards and Milbourne abstains, absent. Acknowledge of receipts of minutes from boards, commissions, and committees. Board of Canvassers 2, Zoning Revision Committee 1, Litter Control Committee 1, Historic Preservation Committee 2. Acknowledge receipt of reports. Town Administrator, Department's monthly reports, December 20, 2023. Police and Fire Department overtime reports, December 2023. Treasurer Saurette, November 2023, budget and revenue reports. Acknowledge receipts and correspondence, letter from Cathy Calabrese, letter from Nancy Howard regarding South Point, Town of Warren resolution in support of amendment to RIGL 44-18-18.1 to include Class A liquor license sales in the levy and imposition of a 1% tax on the gross receipt of the licensee. Letter of thanks from the Samaritans of Rhode Island. Approval of tax assessor abatements, $3,860.13. Fiscal year 2025 budget process schedule. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve or to pull something off.
Madam Chair, C3.
Anyone else?
4B3.
Anyone else?
C1, D1.
Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda excluding B3, C1 and 3, and D1.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made in second. All those in favor? B3, Councilor Edwards.
B3 is the litter committee meeting minutes, and number 6. I've already called them to make a correction. This was J. Edwards, me, not John Edwards, John over there.
Okay. What's the correction?
Oh, okay, so it should read, J. Edwards contacted Vicky to say that the town received a holiday license. And I also mentioned the ongoing issues with litter on the grounds of Dollar General. And I asked her to check the property monthly and report back if the grounds are still littered.
So the correction is change it to your name instead of...
Yeah.
Okay.
Essentially.
All right.
Well, they change it, right? We don't change it.
Yeah,
That's what I was just going to ask.
Their minutes, not ours.
So what we'll do is we won't approve this at all until it comes back. Okay. C1, Town Administrator Department monthly reports.
Okay, that was mine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a comment on, I think it's the last page. The last page under the fire department, there's just been a lot of talk about how much mutual aid we have to provide for other communities and how much is coming back toward us. And there seems to be this thought that we have to have so much mutual aid because we don't have staff to cover it. But if you look for this last month, mutual aid received to Tiverton was 9 calls, and mutual aid given was 15. So we actually provided more mutual aid fire department-wise, than we received. So just a comment.
Actual, Deb, we've pointed that out in the past. Sometimes it's 3 times
Times
the
as
amount.
much, right?
We provide a lot of mutual aid to Forever. It's well-known. So thank you for pointing that out. I'll approve all these at once.
Minus B3.
Yes. C3, Treasurer Saurette, November 2023 Budget and Revenue Reports. John?
Yeah, so if we go to the last 2 pages, I just had a couple of questions here. So under report, recap, under the general fund,
What page?
the second to last page, it says page 3 at the top, but it's obviously not.
All
So
right.
just flip
I
that.
see it.
So 4280 casino and private detail fees. Looks like we're running well ahead of budget. And the question I had for either the treasurer or the administrator, is this as a result of all the road work that was done? And when we start thinking about the next year's budget, should we revise this number higher?
No, this is strictly related to green energy project on Brighton, Boogamarsh, and Fish. We've had a ton of details, nonstop, beginning, it was 24 hours a day until we can get it. That's where the lion's share of this is coming from, so.
We don't-
That project won't be
That's what I
as
mean.
active next year, so.
We don't put anything into this budget line because this is revenue.
It is revenue, so
Right.
it's extra revenue that
Yeah.
we did not budget for, that is, and we have throughout the year, various aspects of the budget where we receive more and other areas we receive less.
Yeah, I think it's just, it's a nice surprise, is all
It
I'm
is a surprise.
saying. Yeah.
But we have been putting these details out, so
Yeah.
it's,
The next one was on the next page, 4631, building permits. We anticipated 210,000. Looks like we're running a little bit further behind, and I had 2 questions that was related to that. Are we on track out of the building office to hit this number? And then secondarily, does this also encompass the building permits? Does that encompass any fees, like, or penalties that are assessed to anybody as well?
so I don't believe it encompasses the fines and fees. I think that's another account.
Chris, if I can answer this has happened before in the
Yeah.
past. The building permits come in basically around April, May, June, and July is when we really get the revenue. So in the past, I've questioned this, and they said very few it's usually the May, June, and July that brings in the amount they expect.
Okay, so, and we'll find out, we can take this offline, Mr. Administrator, but
Okay.
on the fees for, or the fines, I should say.
That would be, that's there somewhere, Chris.
It is, I'm gonna have to get the actual account from.
Unless it's 4550 fines and costs, but,
It might be. It might be that.
Let me look into it for you. I will take this offline, and I'll get it for you next.
okay. And then as an aside, and I'm sure you're well aware, but at some point it would be probably a smart idea to go and audit what fines are being issued, just to make sure that they're appropriate.
So we have had an increase in fines and fees within that department. We've had, and I'll just be frank with you, we've had a number of contractors who have been doing work without pulling permits. And we have been fining them extensively to get them under control, to use the electronic permitting system, which is very easy to use, but for some reason, we've had a handful, and we've got it under control, where these people are now starting to do the permitting the way they should. So we have had an increase in fees, I think about $6,000 over the last 7 months. So there is some complaints about it, but it is what it is. It's-
Yeah, and again, the only reason I bring it up is, again, because of an issue, I know you were
Yep,
contacted directly, but where a fine was
So
levied
I've
where it
had to
probably shouldn't have
resolve some of
been.
these individual cases, you know, in 99% of the time. We let the work go, and we chase the issue down after the fact the work
Yep.
is done. We don't stop the work from getting done. So it's just a matter of dealing with, it's not always a homeowner, sometimes it's a contractor, sometimes it's the contractor staff, they don't even know it's not done. You know, it is what it is, but we have been trying to rein it in, because it was a real perpetual problem. And we had some contractors had like 30 permits out, never paid a thing, never even came in and did anything about it, and we've rectified that.
And then it becomes a problem when they do something that they shouldn't have done, and then it's difficult to get them to stop it, or to change it. so.
There's more to the story than, but it's, I know the particular one you're talking about, that
I
has
don't.
been resolved, and that should
Okay.
not be an issue, so.
Cool, thank you.
And the last one, D1, letter from Cathy Calabrese. Deb, I
So,
think.
yeah, this is a letter from a citizen coming to the members of the council, mostly referencing the public hearing that happened at the zoning board back in December. And I know that there was a public hearing for Seasons Gas Station. That was the second item on the agenda. There was another private citizen who was first. We tend to put, and I don't do the agenda, but we tend to put the smaller ones first, so they don't have to wait so long. Sometimes the public hearings go very lengthy. And I know I heard a lot, not just from this lady, but from a lot of people who were really angry about that. There is another public hearing coming up later on in this month that's just solely for the seasons. But one of the things that she does talk about is why should people go to the public hearing, and why should they voice their opinions when the decision has already been made? And that's absolutely not true. The public hearings are held so that we can hear what the public wants to say. Now, because of some of the zoning, because of some of the laws, some of these places, these businesses have a right to be able to build there, be able to open there. But we absolutely listen to what the public say, and absolutely no members of planning board or zoning board or the town council have any thoughts prior to that public hearing as to which way it will go. So I just want people to understand that it still is really important to come out and still to voice your opinion for any of the public hearings. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I could just piggyback on that, the adage, I think, holds true here. Government is not about the people, it's about the people that show up. So if you want your voice to be heard, you should go to these meetings and let your voice be heard.
I was at that meeting, so was Deb. There was a lot of anger, but I think that the zoning board did not anticipate that the first one was going to be as long as it was.
No, they didn't.
At all. They thought it was going to be simply a lot shorter. So they were surprised also by what took place. But Lisi, who is the zoning board chairman, decided to make it a separate meeting so that wouldn't happen again. And I think that's January 22nd?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So anyone out there, January 22nd, it's just about seasons. So please come if you want to voice your opinion.
But just as it relates to these hearings, I know they're very contentious at times that people have their views and that they're entitled to their views, but the zoning board is required to hear all the evidence, all of it. And the applicant has every right to put their case on, whether we like it or not. They have a right to put their case on, and it has to be done appropriately. So I know it's frustrating, but the zoning board would be doing a disjustice to the town by doing something knee-jerk, by listening to constituents only without hearing all the facts. So, and I'm just putting that out there so that people get a full flavor as to why these hearings are done and the process that takes place. It's not always pleasant to sit through them, but it's very daunting for the zoning board to have to go through all that evidence, but they have to hear it all.
And it would be a legal problem if they didn't hear it all.
Correct.
And if Seasons didn't have the right to present their case and then a decision be made after that.
Yeah.
All right, so I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda C1 through D1. And, yep, that's it.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made in second. All those in favor? And I'd like to entertain a motion to table B3 until the next meeting.
So moved.
That is the Litter Control Committee, and we'll send that back to them. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made in second. All those in favor? The public comment, there is one public comment. It's regarding to the next appointment, and I'm not quite sure they're going to want to make a public comment after what I have to say. The Library Board of Trustees is a 7-member board, 3-year term, 1 vacancy, unexpired term ending 10/15/2025. I've been notified by Melissa Quinlan, she is withdrawing her application. So we have Maureen Ann Owinski, and I probably didn't pronounce that right. Owanski, 526 Highland Avenue, Highland Road. Request appointment, term ending 10/15/2025. Is Maureen here? Come on up, Maureen. We didn't interview you last time, so I'm glad you're here tonight. Just a brief statement about your past experience and why you would like to be on the board.
So my husband and I moved to Tiverton in 1985, and a library card was one of the first things that we did. And we lived just down the street, so it's really great that we had such access to the library. I was a very frequent patron and got to know the staff and the collections and the problems of the library. Shortly after that, I was invited to be a member of the original building committee as a representative for...
That's how I know you, okay?
As a representative for patrons and for parents of children and what we needed for that. Also, around the same time, I was one of the original members of the Friends of the Tiverton Libraries, and our big accomplishment was getting our 501c3 status. And so we could start to accept donations towards the building of the new library. I was the unfortunate person that discovered the flood in 2010 that wiped out the whole,
Yep.
a whole foot high of the library's assets. And it was a great community thing to see people come out and help us. And it was a big impetus in the push to get a new library because it was the situation was so desperate. In 2002, I was hired as a new position for the children and young adult section, which I really enjoyed doing that. So I also was very proud when we moved to the new library in 2015, because the library is just like, it's a gem, it's a jewel. We're so lucky to have this and to provide it for personal use and for community enrichment, and I just have always been a big library promoter. Also in 2018, I took over the position of the library liaison with the Tiverton Senior Center, and every month I drag over a huge bag of large print books to share with the senior citizens. And then I retired at the end of last year, and there was no one to take over that position with the senior center, so I do that now on a volunteer status.
Perfect.
And so having seen all the ways that the library operates and how the foundation and the trustees and the staff, how we all interact, I think that I'm a very qualified applicant for a trustee position.
Thank you. Any questions?
Madam Chair?
Yeah, are you going to make a motion?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to make sure, so do you work at the library?
No, I retired at the end of last year.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I
Yeah.
didn't hear
Had
that
some
correctly.
personal time, but now I'm ready to jump back in.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
Has it been a year for the charter?
she has to be retired a year for the charter? I don't think so.
She's not being reappointed by the library board, she's being appointed by that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good question, though.
And it's an unpaid position.
Unpaid, right?
Yeah,
unpaid,
it's unpaid. So Gail Lawrence would like to say something, but in light that we only have one applicant now, are you okay? Hi.
I'm just coming forward to sing her praises. So if you only have one applicant and she will likely get the position, I think we are so lucky to have her as a member of our trustees because
you.
she's outstanding.
Thanks, Gail.
That's
Thank
my
you.
succinct version of what I was going to say.
Well, that's why I said to you, why don't we hold off? Okay.
No, well, thank you for not forgetting. Thank you.
All right.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead, John.
I'd like to make a motion, we waive our policy and appoint Maureen Owanski of 526 Highland Road to the Library Board of Trustees for a term ending 10/15/2025.
Second.
Mike, I can do this as a one motion, okay. Motion's been made in second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Welcome, thank you.
Juvenile Hearing Board, 7-member board, 3-year term, 1 vacancy, term ending 10/15/2026. Melissa Quinlan, 25 Garden Avenue, request reappointment for term ending 10/15/2026. I'm saying your name a lot tonight.
I'm thinking, I'm like, my name's being said. Good evening, how are you all?
Good, Melissa. I just wanted, just give us a brief reason why you want to be reappointed and your experience on the juvenile board.
So I've been doing the juvenile board for about 2 years now. I find it very rewarding. I love seeing the parents come in and just being very concerned and very appreciative of any comments or any help that we can give. We hope that we've made a difference. You know, we don't know, that's only, the only thing I have to say is that you don't know.
You don't know the end
You
result.
don't know the end result. But in a way, that's kind of good because in my mind, everyone made out really well and took a turn for the good.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Madam Chair?
Go ahead, John.
Motion to waive our policy and reappoint Melissa Quinlan, 25 Garden Ave, to the Juvenile Hearing Board for a term expiring 10/15/2026.
Second.
Motion been made in second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you for your time and more time.
Dog Park Advisory Committee, 9-member board, 1-year term, 1 vacancy. Unexpired term, 3/28/2024. Stephen Lopes, 400 Sousa Road. Request appointment for term ending 3/28/2024. Come on up, Steve. Steve is a recent new member of Tiverton again, correct? And he's been very involved with the dog park as just a volunteer, just to let you all know. So Steve,
There's a bed, I probably sleep there, I'm there every day.
I know. Steve, just give us a little, a reason why you'd like to be on the dog park committee,
Well,
besides Ziggy.
besides Ziggy, yeah, well, moving back into town, I was born and raised here, graduated, I was actually a paid firefighter here for several years.
Yep.
I moved away to Alaska to find my fortune and fame, and as you can see, I'm back here. So you know how that worked out.
You
But
found it.
anyway, I'm back, and I'm semi-retired. I retired from the fire department, and I'm at the dog park a lot. I'm like volunteering with, just because I'm there, helping out, and I would like to take it a step further and become a little bit more involved. I have a lot of experience with fundraising and stuff like that, and I think I could be a benefit to the committee in that respect. And then plus I'm there all the time, so a lot of people have questions. And a lot of times, a lot of word-of-mouth stuff gets passed around. Most of it's accurate, but it is nice when there's a volunteer there or one of the committee members on site that can answer questions and
Steve, I'm going to promote something. You're having a fundraiser
Yes.
for the dog park. You're the Portuguese fireman.
I am, yes.
If anyone has ever
That's
heard
my
of
alter
it.
ego. That's my alter ego.
I worked with Steve through the emergency room at St. Anne's, and I used to go to a lot of his shows when he did it back then. Any questions for Steve?
We just saw a video of you yesterday, though.
Yes.
In the middle of the blizzard, so.
Lisa, yes.
Yeah.
It was really funny. Any questions for Steve? And I think Dave will agree with me. He's been a fantastic volunteer. Every time I go by there to do anything, Steve's there almost. He's there for every fundraiser also. So,
Absolutely a huge asset to the board, to the committee, so.
Madam Chair?
yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we waive the policy and appoint Stephen Lopes, the Portuguese firefighter, 400 Sousa Road, to the Dog Park Advisory Committee for a term ending 3/28/2024. So we'll see you next year.
Do I have a second?
Second.
He's going to kill me for telling you who he really is.
No, that's okay.
Okay?
I try to keep a low profile, but
Yeah, but,
I think we all knew anyway.
oh, did you all know? Okay. Motion's been made in second. All those in favor? Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
All right. Housing Authority, 5-member board, 5-year term, 2 vacancies, term ending 10/15/2026 and 10/15/2028. The first one is Christopher Nearpass, 110 Stony Hollow Road, requests reappointment for term ending 10/15/2028. Is Christopher here? There you are. Hi. So just give us a brief idea why you want to be back on the board.
Well, I've been doing it for 10 years. I took over when my wife passed. She was on the board first.
Yeah.
I enjoy dealing with the elders there and also seeing all the different things with housing. I thought it was just Tiverton housing for the elderly there, but it involves so much more with the Section 8 and the affordable housing and veterans housing. And I like it, and we're making great strides and moving forward with it, and I'd like to continue that.
Any questions for Christopher?
Thank you for wanting to stay on.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to bring Bob up, and then we'll make motions for it. Okay, thank you. The next one is Robert Sodoma, 19 Bayview Avenue, requests appointment for term ending 10/15/2026. Bob, how many committees does this make? I just thought I'd bring it up. Is it 3?
Good evening.
Is it 3? Cemetery?
I forgot my hearing aids.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to scream. I'm used to doing this for my profession.
I'm on the Recreation Commission.
Right.
I'm on the Cemetery
Cemetery
Commission.
and this.
I'm on the Juvenile Hearing Board.
Okay.
He's an alternate on the Juvenile Hearing Board.
He's an alternate. Okay.
I gave up the basketball league, so I got a lot of free time.
And we're benefiting from it. All right, so tell us why you would like to be on the
I think this is one of the more important boards in the town. You're dealing with the elderly, handicap, and the low income. When I joined the North Tiverton Volunteer Fire Department in 1971, it was to help the citizens in the town. To me, this sort of reminds me of my volunteer days with the fire department, because you're actually helping people. You're doing things, you're trying to make sure they have good, clean housing, affordable housing, safe housing. I know and understand that HUD's involved in this also, and Rhode Island Housing Authority, but I feel this is one of the more important, because we're taking care of Tiverton's most vulnerable people, the elderly and the handicapped. So I really feel that this is an important board. I feel I have stuff I can bring to the table on this board, and that's why I applied for it.
Any questions for Bob? Okay, so these are,
I'll just make a comment, if he's board appointed, Bob will give this 150% like he does to all the other boards that he's currently on or has ever been on.
I promise this will be the last one.
no, it's all right,
That's
it's
what
all
you say
right. We'll find, there'll be something else coming up that you'll say, oh yeah, I'll do that too. All right, motions?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we waive our policy and reappoint Christopher Nearpass, 110 Stony Hollow Road, to the Housing Authority to a term ending 10/15/2028. Can I do them both at the same time?
Yes.
All right, and I'd like to also include in that motion that we appoint Robert Sodoma, 19 Bayview Ave, to the same board for a term expiring 10/15/2026.
Second.
Any further comment? All those in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you
Bob.
for everyone that
Thank-
just volunteered.
Thank you,
We need more
Christopher.
people to
Thank you.
participate, so, thank you. Harbor Master, annual term expiring 12/31/2023. Tyler Loomis, 89 John Dugan Road, requests annual reappointment with Harbor and Coastal Water Management Commission and recommendation. Is Tyler here? I don't think so. Did we,
This is-
we didn't contact him.
This is a ministerial act, though, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
he's
I think
he's
we could do
employed.
this. without waiving a policy or anything. We did get a,
He's already been before the Harbor and Coastal
yeah, so,
for their recommendations.
Well, but
okay, so you do see his recommendation, it was in our packet.
And I would concur with them.
I have to tell you that many years ago, Tyler was our only candidate, and he was only 18 years old, and we were very funny about doing it, but the Harbor Commission had worked with him in the past and said that they felt he could do it, and he's really grown into this position. He takes this very seriously. He's out on the water every day in the summer. He's just fantastic at it, and I've been here since we first appointed him, and I really have noticed that he's grown into this position, and I can't think of anyone else that would be better for this position. So,
Madam Chair,
yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint Tyler Loomis, 89 John Dugan Road, to the Harbor Master position for his term expiring 12/31/2023.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
And if you're out there, Tyler, thank you.
Okay. Public hearing, Sakonnet River Outfitters, 777 Main Road, requests approval of revised business hours from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., Sunday through Saturday. Want to come up? So, quickly for the public, how does this change your hours? So what are they presently?
Presently, we can't open until noontime during the week, Monday through Friday.
And on Sunday and Saturdays, is there a difference in time?
Saturday, we can open at 10, and Sunday, we get to open at 9.
Okay. And all these days, you do close at 9 p.m.? Okay. I have one question, because I've gotten emails this weekend. If you do a lower, okay, I know nothing about guns, so please be patient with me. If we tell you you could only shoot 9mm or 22 calibers for a certain amount of time, and correct me if I'm wrong, those you wouldn't hear as much outside of the building. That's what two people emailed me and told me. Is that true?
Yeah.
All right.
It's the rifles and the shotguns that you can hear a little bit.
So would that be a problem if we limited the millimeters and calibers for a certain period? I'm being honest.
What do you mean for a certain period, though?
Well, on Saturday, you usually open at 10.
Yeah.
So say from 8 to 10, they can only shoot 9mm and 12.
What, on
22
Saturday?
calibers. Yeah. What I'm saying is, your new hours, could we limit what's being shot?
I don't plan on opening any earlier on Saturday or Sunday. This is mainly for Monday
Right,
through
but
Friday.
Saturday and Sunday, you are extending your hours.
Sunday, we already open at 9.
No, it says here 8 a.m.
We put 8 just across the board to keep it easy. I don't plan on opening any earlier on Saturday or Sunday.
So
This is mainly for classes
this is
during the
mainly
week.
for during the week.
Yeah.
So on Sunday, you still plan on 9 a.m., and we can change that. And on Saturday, you're still planning on 10 a.m. So Monday through Friday, between 8 and 12, what are you planning on doing between 8 and 12?
I just want to be able to turn the range on for live fire classes.
Okay.
If we get them, if we start having them.
Right.
Right now, it's up in the air. I don't know what kind of classes we're gonna be able to put on every week. This isn't gonna be an everyday occurrence. It's just gonna be maybe once or twice a week if we have the people for the classes.
So my uneducated question is, would you be able to limit it to 9mm or 22 calibers during the morning hours so that it wouldn't be loud and wake up people? I'm just telling you some of the,
So-
if no, be honest with me. I'm just asking.
No,
Okay,
no.
okay. So you may, usually at night now, you close at 9 p.m. every night,
Every night.
Sunday and Saturdays?
Except for Sunday, unless we have an event that is closed to the public.
Okay.
And then we're closed at 9.
Yeah.
But from 8 to 12 during the week, you're having classes, but these classes will require shooting.
Some of them.
Okay. I just wanted to get that out there. And a couple of people who have called to support you have suggested to me the 9mm 22 caliber. Like I said, I know nothing about guns. And
I highly doubt that there's going to be many rifle classes that early in the morning, but that's the only time I can offer this type of class to people. If I'm open to the public from noon to 9, I certainly can't close the range down for classes.
Okay.
So this is the only time I have.
Okay.
So Saturday, what's your intended start time?
10. And Sunday, your time would be 9. So it's
So
Monday.
we can change this.
Yeah.
It's just Monday through Friday.
It's Monday through Friday that
That's
you
it.
want to extend it.
Basically, yeah.
All right, I'm going to open this up to the public.
Can I ask a question while we're
Yeah.
doing that?
Go ahead.
So you're not planning to say, I'm going to have class every Monday from 8 to 10. It's going to be if someone comes in and says, I need this training.
There are going to be scheduled classes too, where we can have 3 or 4, 5 people in the class. And it's not going to be every day. We're not that lucky to have that type of business.
All right, so it'll be occasionally. It'll be during the week at 8 o'clock you'll stop.
But you want to have the option.
Okay. All right, I will open it to a public hearing. Anyone from the audience would like to come on up? Yeah. Yeah, you have to use the podium. You have to state your name and address.
Front and center.
My name is Cheryl Felber. I live at 33 Ford Farm Road. Fairly new to Tiverton, just moved here in July. And I want to know when you're teaching these classes now, if 9 to 12.
Address me, please. Don't ask him questions. Go ahead.
Sorry.
That's
I
all
want
right.
to know when these classes are being held now, if there's no time during the open shooting for these classes.
Are you holding these classes now?
They're not.
No.
They're not being held. We can't.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought I knew the answer, but
But being in a butter, I have a concern about this, about the noise level, about, I guess I would have to assume that the people that are coming in and out of the range are responsible gun holders.
well, they're licensed, I would imagine,
Yeah.
right? If they're carrying guns in and out
I'm
of the...
just concerned about the noise.
So
being
you're
so close.
You're at Ford Farm, so do you hear them? Do you hear the shooting?
We just moved here,
Okay.
so no.
Because I'm not sure you're in a butter. Is she in a butter?
We got the letter in the mail
Okay,
saying we're in
wow.
a butter.
400 feet.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to think of Ford Farm. Okay. You just moved here, but presently, are you hearing anything from the gun range? Okay. And they are open 12 to 9?
I work full-time.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right. All right. Thank you. Anyone else? Come on up.
Corey O'Brien, 172 Montgomery Street, Tiverton. My biggest question is, with all the pushback, being that it's a gun shop, is there any difference between a muffled gunshot or, my neighbor starting their lawnmower at 7 o'clock in the morning? I don't understand the issue with a muffled gunshot that you yourself said you can barely hear. It's been tested. The decibel meters are well below any sort of violation. Why is the muffled gunshot any different?
It's just that people in the past have complained about it, so we have to pay attention to that. I know that Jay went down there, and I did, to hear how much the noise was.
So you yourself
And I went
could
in the
say that
summer.
it's
I went in the summer, so
barely.
you could hear it, but not unless you.
I mean, is your neighbor's lawnmower and leaf blower?
Well, I have to tell you, I live on Stafford Pond, so the shooting over on Eagleville is much louder than what goes on here. So I'll be honest.
That's kind of my point also.
Yeah, I'll be honest. But But it was a neighbor complaint, and it was a concern. I have to be honest right now, and I hope people are watching. People have been very angry about this and writing us emails. And it's been a concern since Randy opened it years ago. I am really surprised that no one is here. We can pay attention if you come with complaints that are valid, and we will in the past. But to write emails and go, a multimedia, or show up at my last meeting talking about it, I am really disappointed that people aren't here to talk about it, because...
Disappointed that people aren't against the gun shop?
Well, no. What I'm saying is, there's been, people have said they don't like it, but when he's here tonight, they should have come.
Yeah.
So he could answer the questions, we could answer the questions, he could hear the concerns, and I'm
Absolutely,
disappointed
yeah.
that people didn't show up tonight. And that's just what I have to say.
Okay.
We hear a lot of complaints on Facebook about things, we hear a lot of complaints on our emails and whatever, but when,
The emails you said that you have, are those open to the public?
no, I didn't think so. But I have to tell
They could
you,
be if
They should be.
I mean, I'd like to read them.
I have to tell you, it was only for it this time. I received 3, I don't know what the rest of you
Generally,
received.
emails between a constituent and a council are not public records. Because this is a public hearing, it would be up to them if they wanted to release
Right,
them.
and
But
I am-
They're under no obligation to release those.
But I have to say,
Would you?
I received 3 and they were all for it. I did not receive any negatives.
Okay.
I don't know if the rest of the council agrees with me. I received one about the caliber of guns, the other one about a neighbor who is not disturbed by it. I don't remember what the third was, if there was even a third, to tell you the truth. I receive like 20 emails a day, so, about other subjects. Jay?
Along those lines, I'll just make one further comment. And this relates to me personally. If you want to communicate with me, you do it face-to-face, you do it by email. I totally will ignore Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook means nothing to me. I don't want to hear it.
But
So if you have a concern and you want to bring it to my personal attention, you do it with my personal email. The whole town has that by now. You give me a phone call, use my town email, or you come to a meeting, or you grab me on the street, I don't care. Don't do it on Facebook.
My point is, if you have real concerns and you want us to address it, it's only fair that the person who owns the shop or the business is here to address it also.
Yes,
So we can
absolutely.
ask questions.
Yeah.
I'm really disappointed that people didn't show up tonight, when sometimes we get,
I mean, wouldn't that say it's less of a problem than maybe?
yeah,
it's being-
I'm just saying my opinion about this. If you want to, I think the business owner has the right to listen to the complaints and help us solve them.
And
if
as
that
far
does-
as the noise ordinance is concerned, again, my question being, is there a difference between a muffled gunshot and a lawnmower running?
Well, it's the decibels.
As far as I'm concerned,
And
the
it's-
decibel
Yeah,
is a
the noise
decibel,
ordinance
whether or not
is the
it's.
decimals. And a lawnmower that starts up probably would not be above the decimal. But if it's loud for 10 seconds, well, that's a different story too. It's continuous noise.
And we have a
Agreed,
separate-
where
we
lawnmowers
have a
are far
separate-
worse.
The town has a separate ordinance that governs gun, and that's what we're under. That's why it's treated differently, because there's a separate
Yeah, but
statutory scheme.
What's the what's the noise? There's no.
There's a decibel,
No.
different decibel for?
No,
gunshot?
there isn't. There
Okay,
isn't.
so
The
what are you trying to
decibel would
say?
be no different than anything
It
else.
would be no different than any.
Yeah, so what was your point?
I'm just saying that the reason why we have these public hearings is because there's a whole different ordinance procedure.
No, I understand that,
Yeah.
you know, like liquor stores is annual type of
this is
thing. I'm just
basically-
saying strictly based on volume.
So
That was the
this is
concern with
basically-
opening up at 8 AM.
This is a licensing matter that is required to have a public hearing, no different than the
No,
last
you guys
time
are
when the applicants
pushing
came
me
in.
towards
they-
something I'm
they
not saying.
Opened up for Sunday, there were some negative comments. The council heard them all, they granted it, there hasn't been any complaints. I'm not saying, there's always good, I don't say good, there's always people who are for and against certain things, they are what they are.
Yeah,
This is the
again.
venue, the only venue that the council can ensure the applicant has a process to be heard.
And-
So, and that's what's actually happening, is He's coming in, making his play and his case, and the council's hearing from the parties. They'll ultimately make a decision.
I think it's a fair venue for the business owner too, because they get to hear the complaints. And if there's something they can do to solve it.
Or lack thereof.
Or resolve it, or be part of the community and help, then this is where it needs to be done. Any questions from anyone right now?
Are we still in public?
Oh, I'm sorry, I
When
didn't
he's
know you
done.
could, come on up, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm good. No one's gonna answer.
No, I asked and I only saw 2 hands go up, I apologize. Hi,
He was hiding behind.
he was hiding behind the post.
Hello, my name's John Cello. I live at 201 Robert Gray Ave, here over in the Robert Gray area. I moved to town about 4 years ago. I am for you guys being open. The reason why is I need training, and I have a couple friends, and I mentioned that I have a gun range right down the road from me. And a number of my friends are like, that would be great. But the thing is, it is tough to find licensed people that can train. The other closest one that I know of is all the way up in Attleboro, and it's out of my way. And having it right in my backyard is a great option. So, and regarding the noise, I hear the duck hunters over in Island Park in Portsmouth coming up across the bay. In aspects of noise, and you mentioned regarding the lawnmowers and the garden tools from the landscapers, they start at 7 o'clock in the morning, so I don't see how big of a problem that could be, especially with some of the cars racing up and down the main street in the morning or in the late at night. So, just wanted to give my 2
Thank
cents.
you.
Thank you.
I don't want to ignore anyone else. Does anyone else like to speak at the public hearing? Anyone else? I'll close the public hearing. Any questions from the council? John? Oh.
Nope. Councilor
Not
Edwards.
a question, I will make a suggestion that we range opening time, we change Sunday to 9 a.m. and we change Saturday to 10.
John?
On the paperwork, you mean?
Yeah, on the paperwork, and,
Grant the license with those changes.
yeah, and they're
I'm fine with
shaking their head, yes. Deb?
I've said this before, when Randy came before the council, and I wasn't on the council, but I was in that room, and it was packed, and it was standing room only. And when you purchased the business, I don't think anyone even knew that was happening. There was nobody here. It went through very quietly, and I've gotten emails here and there, not substantial. But I just want to say to the public also that you've also been willing to work with us. You've said you'd do some putting rubber on the walls, whatever you needed to do to muffle it. So we don't want to close down or limit small businesses. We want to support small business in our town. Obviously, we don't want to impact negatively with the neighbors, but to have a business owner like yourselves who are willing to work with us, I think that says a lot. And I have not gotten any feedback that it's bothersome. As far as lawnmowers, those go on and they stay on, and they go, 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 go. This may be like an intermittent type thing, where you're not saying from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. every single day, 7 days a week, I'm going to have this class and it's going to go. It may be on Monday. It may not be until Friday. It's going to be very intermittent, sporadic. I hope you do get more business. I think that's really important, and I would be supportive of that. So, just my personal comments. Thank you. You're welcome.
Madam Chair? So, first off, I think that this is perfectly fine to expand the hours, right? We want to make sure that the businesses we do have, the handful of them that are actually here in Tiverton, are successful and continue to be successful and continue to pay taxes to the town, because at over 90% residential, that's going to come to bite this town in a big way. Just another side comment I wanted to make. I think it's a travesty that we had to wait this long to expand the hours, and the reason for me saying that is because we have another gun range in town. It's actually a club, the Rod and Gun Club, and they have expanded hours well beyond what we restricted Sakonnet River Outfitters to. So I said it once before when I first got on this council, there was a neighbor who came in front of the council at the last license renewal and complained about the noise. And I said it then, what they're hearing is the Rod and Gun Club, because the baffle system that's installed at Sakonnet River is, far superior, and the Rod and Gun Club noise carries. Not to mention any of us who live in the south end of town, when it's hunting season, as soon as the sun comes up, it's like, there's multiple gunshots going off. We've got 15 hunters back there in Sepauwett Marsh all the time. So, it's part of, in the ordinance, it talks about, the character of the town and making sure that the business fits and the gun range fits. Well, Tiverton has a long history of outdoorsmanship and hunting, and I think that this just fits right within the character. So, with that, I would move that we.
I'm just going to let Dave talk and
Okay.
I'll ask for an agenda. Would you like to say anything?
Yeah, I would just echo Councilman Edwards. I'm up on Warren Ave, and really all I hear is the south end. I've spent time over here, especially recently, minimal at best. So.
And Dennis, you're all set, or?
Yeah, I'm all set. I just want to say thank you for coming in and being patient with us. I know it's not easy. I know sometimes it's frustrating, but like she said earlier, for people to get an understanding of what you're actually been doing and what we're requesting and back and forth, again, thanks for coming out and being patient with us.
I do want to say that I was at the original hearing for Randy, which I don't ever want to live again. But since he opened it, and I've been on the council since, there have been very little complaints. I mean, I don't even remember a complaint, except occasional noise complaints. But other than that, everybody was so fearful of it, and it really has not been a problem for the town.
We don't put up with
Yeah.
any.
So I do want to say that I was there at the original one, and Deb's right. I had an auditorium, I was president back then. I had an auditorium full of people, and it ended up working out well. And also, thank you for having patience. The reason why you had to come back this time is because of the change of hours, and it wasn't clear at the last license. John?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the revised business hours for Sakonnet River Outfitters, 777 Main Road, from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., Monday to Friday, with the hours being unchanged on Saturday and Sunday as suggested by Councilor Edwards.
So Sunday would be 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Saturday would be 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Okay.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
That was easy.
Jay's just going to do the next one. I got to step out for a minute. 8A.
All right, the next one's general business, 8A, Maureen Morrow, Litter Committee, requesting that the town move to a covered bin on wheels recycling bin program. Maureen, in the audience? Maureen?
Hello, everybody.
Counselor-
Thank you for having us tonight.
Before the comments, I think it's worth mentioning, part of the original motion when we approved the trash contract with Mega was for the administrator to come back to this council with a proposal to go to automated trash collection, which would include, I believe, what you're going to talk about this evening, as well as automated on the trash side. The administrator has been tied up with everything that's going on, but I have spoken with him. He, myself, and Director Rogers are going to meet at some point this month to actually discuss what that plan might look like. So it should be on, if not the next agenda for this council, probably sometime in February, to outline what that plan is. So I don't mean to steal your thunder.
I think we're
but
just going to get up and say that.
I wanted to save you the time, energy, and effort if it was helpful.
All right, thanks so much for saying that, Councilor Edwards.
So we're working on it.
So I'm going to just start with a few comments to make sure everyone in the room understands a little bit about the Litter Committee. So the litter committee was formed several years ago as an offshoot of the conservation committee. And we have several members who meet monthly. Vicky's our chair. And some of the things we've been involved with over the past several years is the Adopt an Area program, where we have 150 volunteers who have signed up to clean litter from the roads of certain parts of town. We also organize an annual town cleanup. We have a kickoff at Grinnell's Beach. We hand out gloves and bags and so forth. And we also cooperate with other civic groups that are concerned about litter and conservation, such as the Eastern Rhode Island Conservation District, Save the Bay, and the International Coastal Cleanup Group. More recently, we've partnered with several groups around Tiverton and Little Compton to bring community composting to Tiverton.
Are we getting off the subject here? No, okay.
Oh, that's
Sorry.
okay. No, that's all right, Denise. And you're probably, I know you're thinking of time. I'm going to move
No,
along.
no, no, no,
Maybe we should give you a little
no.
background.
No, because
Yeah.
every once in a while he'll look at me if I'm getting off subject.
Yeah, it was just a matter of, I wanted to tell you, so as an offshoot of that, one of the things that we on the litter committee have noticed, and all of you from riding around town probably can't help notice, is that recycling bins that are uncovered are a huge source of our litter problem. And it's one of those litter problems that we actually can do something about. So I actually had some photographs that I was going to bring and enlarge, but you know, everybody has seen them. They're mounted up, people are, you know, have the right intention, and the wind picks up the milk bottles and so forth, and it's down the street, and especially in the more rural areas of town, those things never get picked up. If you live in the more heavily suburban area,
Even
people,
there, it doesn't get picked
yeah.
up.
So anyway, that is the main push behind this, and we have volunteers that pick up litter, but they can't be expected to pick up all that. And more recently, I don't know if you're aware, the ACI crews that used to go out under the Department of Transportation, the state has stopped sending ACI crews out.
I haven't seen them.
And they used to do a really good job. And I would call DOT over in Portsmouth periodically and say, please, can you send a crew out and do Main Road, Bulga Marsh, Stafford? Okay. So I'm going to, just in the interest of time, John's already said that I've spoken to John, I've spoken to Jay Edwards, and then Vicki and I met with Administrator Cotta and Mr. Rogers from DPW for like a conference call about 6 months ago. So everyone has sort of been brought into the circle. And so from there, I'm going to turn this over to Vicki. She's got some more specifics.
Well, this just is a background, really, of how recycling started in Tiverton. I'm here 23 years now, and we all got the blue bin that we bought, and we all got the cover. The cover lasted a day, and then in the winter it became a Frisbee, plastic. Everyone's got duct tape all over their boxes. Those bins are made for one household use person. They don't hold anything beyond. So now we have 3, 4, and 5 of those bins in front of everybody's yards, and all we want to do is become like our neighbors. Everyone around us is doing it. I did some research, and in Bristol, the residents are responsible for buying their own bins, and they also bought automated trucks to take care of their removal of both trash and litter. In Portsmouth, they have no curbside pickup, and they want everyone to remove their recyclables and trash at the transfer station or pay for private pickup. Fall River, Westport, and Dartmouth all are required bins on wheels. What we're asking for right now is recycling bins, not necessarily the recycling and the trash. I have both because we have the pay-as-you-throw bags, and they're self-contained. But down the road, if we have a lot of money and we find out in the budget, wow, we have an extra 100,000 sitting around, we can get everybody 2 of those bins so that we don't have any trash.
My only problem with making residents pay for it, it won't happen.
Right.
So the only, and we've discussed this a few years ago, the only way for that to work is if we provide them.
Right.
And it's costly, so we'd have to make it into a budget.
Part of the contract.
Right. We did look into it at the last contract. We have some idea of what it will
We have
cost.
alternate numbers. But
Yeah.
And we have 5,800 dwellings plus in this town. Many are business, many are people that have their own trash pickup. and people like me that have both bins for like 20 years. I just got rid of them immediately. I bought my first bin before Rick was here. We had a grant.
Yep.
They had 100 bins on wheels. The first 100 through the door, it was $35.
Yep.
I still have that bin. It's in mint condition. And recently, I went and picked up a bin at Home Depot. It's black, because Rick had said that you can get any one you want, just mark it trash. And that was $47, but it's the standard one. You know, like the one in the back, we have two of them right here.
Yep, yep.
And it's not the smaller one, but it's the standard one. So grants are great, and I know that the Rehrig, R-E-H-R-I-D, it's the name of a gentleman, Pacific Company, that's the company that actually sells them to all the towns. And they also have grant money available, as well as the Rhode Island Resource Recovery, because I did some research.
So, at one of the meetings, I don't know if it was the last one, but John did ask, Chris to get
We
some.
need to get together, we just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, to get some numbers together. And
And if you need me to go around town and look at every household to see who needs them and who doesn't, so
No,
you get the
it's
right
okay.
number, I'm
She
willing
would
to
do
do
that.
it. I'm retired and I'll do it, because there's so many more people.
We might take you up on it.
No, but there's so many more people that have them than you don't think. So 5,800 dwellings, there's a lot of people that have
Already
gotten
have
them.
it, yeah.
I actually think the dwellings are higher than what you think, but
What?
I think there are more dwellings.
There's more dwellings.
Well, it's between 55 and 65, so I picked 58.
So-
I went in between.
No,
I thought there were
no,
6,800.
a tenant,
Okay.
a three-story building would get 3 bins.
Yeah, because it's tenants, so it's,
I
that
don't
would
know
be
if
one
you're
dwelling.
counting
Right,
that
right,
But-
right.
What are some other possible sources of funding? Casino revenue?
COVID leftover money? Where else do we think there is money?
That would all,
never know.
that's what we're all gonna,
Yeah.
that's what we're talking, we're gonna be doing a meeting in February, that's coming up in the agenda, that I wanna pick a date where we're going to go over what APRA money we have left over and what casino money we have left over.
We've been teetering on resolving the landfill.
Yeah,
We
and
still have
that's,
about $1.5 million left to pay off.
and that's what we're waiting for.
Okay,
We also have an application for a major grant.
yeah.
If the grant comes through, that frees up some money that we have some desperate needs for, and this
Yeah.
might be one of the projects.
Okay.
Well, lots of times these grants come from groups that you would not even make the connection between the two. They were
Yeah.
just like, oh.
I don't remember who the grant came from
I don't
last
either.
time.
I just
No.
know they got 100 of them, and they were $30
Yeah,
each, and
I-
we all grabbed them.
Yeah, I can't remember who that was from.
Not USDA.
I don't know who it was from.
Well,
either.
I just hope, we can get a commitment from the council
Well,
to,
it's in- yeah, it's in
this
the
is a
process.
huge litter problem.
It's in the process. As you know, we have to get the budget together.
Yeah.
Within the next few months, so what was that?
I don't know, 3 months lost.
David.
Yes, David.
So you think in 2024 we'll have this rolled out? Or is
We
this-
don't know. We'll see if we have it in the budget. I'm not gonna make promises.
I know, but I don't know, does it take a year, does it take 6 months, does it take 2 years?
We don't know.
You need to give them, you need to give the the trash company, a little bit of lead time, because they're gonna have to replace their truck that goes around and picks up all the stuff to go for the one that picks it up on the
Yeah.
sidearm. Right now, it's just a guy that jumps off the back and throws it in the back, so.
But he's also gonna have to use the other trucks in northern Tiverton where the cars are on top of each other, because I don't think they can use the automated
Well,
ones.
they're gonna have to.
Yeah,
They're gonna have
it's
to
one,
set their own
it's,
schedule to
yeah.
juggle both different types of trucks.
And one other item too that you guys didn't hit, but as far as it relates to the recycling, Rick said it numerous times. The number one cause for rejected recycling loads at Rhode Island Resource Recovery is wet cardboard. And every single one of these bins, my house included, the second it's garbage day, it seems to rain, and all that cardboard gets soaking wet, and we pay for those loads. So it's costing us more than we think by not going this route.
I think we need to put that in the new form that just came out that tells us what to recycle, because nobody knows about that. And I cut my cardboard up and I put it in my bin on wheels, so it's always covered, always covered. So there's no reason why people, and there's another great idea, if it's raining, put it out next week. Gee, there's a concept.
Yeah, it
Hold it
might-
another, you don't have to.
But
put
it might
recycle-
rain next week too,
Yeah,
so.
but you know what I'm saying?
But
you
if-
know it's garbage and you can't get rid of it, it becomes trash and you have to pay for it, just hold on to it till the next week, just common sense.
I have to tell you, I disagree with the North End using those trucks. I work in Forever, so I see it constantly. They use the same trucks.
So they just don't do it in the middle of the street?
They do it
still have
in-
to bring a person, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's one guy in the
You have to have
truck.
somebody bring it off the curb.
Yes.
Right, the other way where I live on right away, they just have the thing and they don't need that extra person.
Yep.
Well, I think
So
they,
that's what I'm saying.
No, in Fall River, it's one man.
Yeah.
it is, right? It's one man.
Yeah, you just
And
can't
it's
park
out
on
of
that side of the street.
truck and yes.
They
In
what?
Taunton,
You just
in
can't park
Taunton,
on
they
that
do
side of the street.
Oh, okay, they will alternate side of the street. probably.
Yeah,
It'll take 6 months, but the residents will
It'll be a
eventually get used to
process,
it. But
you're right, because the driver gets out and
If he needs to, yeah.
if he needs to, if he needs to.
In Taunton, they get out.
And to your point about put the recycling bins out later, like my household is myself, my wife, and I have 3 kids under 5. We cannot wait a week for recycling. I have 2 small bins and I have a garbage barrel size bin,
Oh, we're
and
going to
all
2
3.
weeks recycling.
But all 3 of those are filled like every week. So
I'm just talking about
But
the
you
piece.
could
I'm
Yeah.
just talking
put
about
in the
I'm just
cardboard
talking about the
paper.
cardboard. I put the cardboard, I flatten it, and then we tie it with a rope, and I just leave it on the side of the garage. And when I know it's gonna rain, I just hold it. I'm not talking about the recyclable.
you can also burn it or compost it too. So
I think also the weight of those bigger
That's what we
ones.
get charged for.
No, the weight of the bucket itself, because of the little bins, when it is windy,
They fly.
and they're all over my neighborhood, and we have our address written on it, but we're constantly walking around, and there's some in my backyard that belong a street over. But I think with those bigger ones, they may not fly as easily.
no, they won't.
In the windstorms.
All right, so that's, we're working on that.
Okay, thank you very
Can't make any
much.
promises when, but it's being
There is
worked on.
it's gonna happen at some
We
point
don't
in my
know.
lifetime.
We don't know.
The answer to that question is yes.
Well, it'll happen in my lifetime.
It will happen in your
That's all I'm
lifetime.
asking.
Come hell or high
I
water.
mean, you never know if you get hit by a car and, no.
Don't be walking in the street. You'll be all right.
Thank you.
Madam President, can we bring item F up next? Because Mark has been sitting here and
Sure,
everything else is pretty much ministerial.
sure. Can I have a motion to bring 8F up?
Without objection.
Without objection. So I don't need, all right. Do I have an objection to do that? Okay.
No.
Hi, Mark.
Good evening, councilors and staff. How are you?
Good.
So Mark is our new director to the Tiverton Wastewater District. I actually met with Mark last week for the first time. We've gone over a number of policy-type matters that we, as a group, need to work with together. Mostly related, the issue came up as a result of the recently passed moratorium. Tiverton wastewater was mentioned in that moratorium for a project that came before them, I believe in 2022, related to Zero Stafford Road. It was a cordial meeting. It was, we really need to work together, and I wanted Mark to come before the council so that we can work towards creating policies and ordinances to rectify matters that we may perceive to be struggling of powers. And it's not meant to be controversial at all. My real issue, and it was in the moratorium, was that if we're gonna do something infrastructure-wise in our R80 zone, R60 zone, that has substandard water, fractured water tables, and areas where we never intended to have high-density building, that the wastewater district, in my view, had a district plan to rectify the contamination was going into the bay. And I assumed that was limited to that district. We still have to do some research on enable legislation, but more importantly, we need to work together. So I wanted Mark to come and provide some insight from the wastewater district, what their view is as to what their main mission is, and hopefully we can come to some resolution as to if a project does come outside of where their main focus area is, that there's a collaboration between the town, that we don't violate our comprehensive plan by allowing infrastructure to be put in areas that were never intended to be, until we resolve some other issues. So it's more of a collaborative working relationship. Mark was very, very good with me. He gave me some information I didn't know anything about. Some of it related to some infrastructure study that needs to be done as it relates to their entity. And I'll let you, I'll give the floor to you.
Absolutely. Can you hear me on this? Yeah, okay. So, my name is Mark Nimiroski. I am the new executive director of the Tiverton Wastewater District. I just started in November. I'm going to skip my background. You can scope me on LinkedIn just in the interest of time, so you don't need to know my resume. But as Chris stated, our district was the subject, one of the subjects during the discussions of the moratorium. And I reached out to Chris and I said, listen, if we are going to be the subject of one of your meetings, please reach out to us. I'm happy to attend the meeting, give you guys good information as much as I can. And, if I can't answer your question tonight, if you have a question for me, I'll go back to my staff. I have an excellent staff, and I can get you an answer very quickly. So just in the interest of, maybe setting the stage for what our interest is, I just wanted to maybe correct the record that it seems like there's an impression that we're looking to build an empire, and that's certainly not the case. We are interested in building our district in a way that is responsible and is in keeping with our wastewater facilities plan, which is a public document. It's available on our website. You can have this copy if you want to. It's pretty thick. But just to simplify things for everybody involved, out of these hundreds of pages, I really feel like the most important page is page 17. It has a map of the town of Tiverton with the various districts, areas where we are planning to expand sewer service into the existing housing stock areas. This is our plan, it's in writing. This is what we're planning to do. It's laid out phases 1 through 4. And there are some other areas that don't have a phase number, so I'm not, again, I'm new, so I didn't write this, but again, this is our priority, okay? So I just want to correct the record that, we're not looking to expand in any way. We're a utility. If a developer comes to us with a plan and asks if there is sewer availability, then it's not our place to deny them. If they have an approved development, and we have the capacity to serve them, then we have to. It's just not a choice. So I will say that, one of our discussions was this wastewater facilities plan was last updated in 2014. That was the last comprehensive update. There's been a lot of changes in town since then, obviously. We updated it in 2017 to accommodate the casino. So only that portion is any more recent than 2014. So really for us, in order to be able to say what our capacity is, quote unquote, with any honesty and with any intelligence and with any accuracy, we really need to upgrade our facilities plan. This was last done, when it was last done, it took 6 months to write and it cost about $60,000. My guess is that it's probably going to be closer to twice that, but the time frame would be similar. So we won't have a good answer, even if I had a contract written that I could send out tomorrow. Our new plan wouldn't be done for another 6 months. So again, a solid answer on capacity is a little bit in the future. So I think that sort of fits with the town schedule.
It does. Mark also kind of explained it, and I didn't know this, that their wastewater district does have a capacity issue as far as they have reserved certain capacities to deal with the 4 phases that are in their plan. The north end, basically. And what would happen if they were to start building out areas outside of that district? What does that happen to the capacity? So I agree with Mark. I do think that it would be important for us to work together. If he can come up with the scope of work that we can put before Rhode Island Housing, because there is still some monies that might be available that we could, jointly work with to try to get this facility study done, so that they have a full understanding of what they have, the town. And it really did explain to him our issue with the planning process, that our planning board is making decisions without having information. And it's going to be detrimental to the community. And it was in that vein this discussion took place. And Mark and Leroy Kendrick was there as well at the meeting that we had, very, very cordial. I do believe that they're on pretty much the same viewpoint as I am. But it would be nice to get it so that we come full circle and we have a process where, they have a focus and they have a priority and they have capacity. And if something does happen, that a developer comes in and tries to, and I don't know any easy way to say that, but exploit the town to try to do something that was never intended, They have a mission, they have a goal, they have an independent board that they work for, they have legislative authority to do what they do. But at the same token, the town has a comprehensive plan that's adopted by the state, and it's, when the two sides don't work together, and it's not by any malfeasance or conflict, we need to find a way to work together, and that's kind of opening that door, and hopefully we can do the same thing with the water departments as well. And Mark is very receptive to that, and again, this is not a kingdom of domain issue where we're trying to overstep on one another.
I think you mentioned the moratorium just because it's our concern also.
So, and I did explain to Mark that that project was named in that moratorium language. I did a project outside the council, really not with any approval. We had a subcommittee that I adopted, that we looked at a lot of things, and we tried to keep it as extremely quiet as possible while we were doing it, in fear of, if word got out that we were looking at trying to develop a moratorium, we would just be inundated with applications. And that's the reason why. It wasn't that I was trying to slight them, and I think he got that after I explained all that, but this is a matter of trying to get the town to be able to do what it needs to do in an appropriate manner, so that we're not harming the rest of the constituents in town in areas that we shouldn't be harming.
Well, absolutely, I agree. I think we're on the same page, and I just wanted to, let you all know that, my view is whether we like it or not, we're partners, and there's no reason we shouldn't have a
I don't think
cordial.
we dislike it.
There's no reason we shouldn't have a cordial working relationship, and I'm a team player, and I'm just looking forward to many years of service to the wastewater district, and I'm just trying to make it the best possible agency that it could be, and I take your concerns very seriously. And again, if you have any questions, please reach out. I got a bunch of business cards with me. Feel free to call me directly, or reach out through our website. We have an info email. I see every email that comes in through there, and I deal with it personally if necessary. So again,
I will work with Mark to get hopefully a grant application through Rhode Island Housing. That would be an independent grant between them and Rhode Island Housing. We would just help facilitate the process of doing it so that they can get this facility study done, because it would be beneficial to our planning board to have appropriate information for them.
John?
So I have a question, and please stop me if I'm straying here. First off, this is the map you're referring to, right? That's in that plan?
That's the one.
Okay. So out of curiosity, I know the focus of wastewater is to do, you did phase one, next up is Robert Gray, and that's going to be probably chopped in half. I was on the board prior to your arrival. And so, you look at where it's going to go. It's Bay Street, it's, Lepus Road, Church Street, Mill Street, Garden Heights. There's a couple of larger developments that are, I believe, predicated on the availability of sewer. So does the fact that a main runs kind of by where those are, does that allow anybody to just kind of tie in, or does the district have to shift gears? Like, how does that work if 300 houses are going to be plopped in and there's a main right there? Like, are you obligated to connect them? I'm curious, because there's major developments that are right by that main that runs, from the industrial park down Sousa Road down to the connector. So I'm just wondering how even some of those projects got through the planning board, if there's a capacity issue and there's 5 other areas that are planned for expansion.
Right, well, so again, if there is an approved development, we are the last link in the chain, right? So if there is a development that has been approved by the town, we are obligated, we're a utility, we're not the gatekeeper, we can't tell them no. I can't honestly say when we get a letter, that's our process, we get a letter requesting availability of sewer. And so right now our answer, and we're sticking to it, is, there happens to be a sewer line that runs by, the abutting property. However, until we update our facilities plan, we don't know if we have capacity.
I was just going to ask that question.
Right.
So, based on capacity.
Based on capacity, right. So do we have legal authority to tell them that they can't build? No, we don't.
So
That's
at
not
the
our
same
place.
token, while he does have, and I don't know if it's in, because I have never read that document.
Right.
And I didn't ask this question last week. To the extent that there is reserve capacity for those 4 district areas or the mapped area, the town, in its infinite wisdom, spent millions of dollars to bring the sewer line to the industrial park. Is there a reserve capacity for the industrial park?
Yes, that was part of the last facilities plan, was the build out on the industrial park was planned. Typically, again, that's not a large user, you know, these
No,
industrial.
but I also heard that there is no water capacity for it, so.
Right.
That's,
Right,
you know,
and that, again, that's a separate issue. And
It is.
To that end, I had a really good meeting this morning with Paul Ferlin from Fall River, and that's another person that you should reach out to if you're looking to help decide whether there's water capacity in town, because Fall River does supply a good amount of the water to both North Tiverton and to Stonebridge. So their capacity is going to be, you know, a large portion, you know, especially if you're having difficulty getting answers from the individual districts. You know, I think Fall River could certainly speak to their capacity, and they should speak for themselves, and you should reach out to Paul.
So, and in that same vein about those developments, one of the issues that I've been wrestling with and I need to get before our building department is before that building permit comes through, there is a betterment fee that, for any tie-ins, and we don't, I know we have an ordinance, but I don't think we have any number spelled out in our ordinance. And I would like the Tiverton Wastewater District to help us identify what that number should be. Even if the developer puts it in, it still has an impact on the rest of the system. The town would collect that fee and earmark it and escrow it for the wastewater district to utilize to maintain those systems. And because ultimately our goal, hopefully by the end of 2024, is to get the last phase of that sewer line cambered, cleaned, and turned over to the wastewater district for its full use. And the town would be, in essence, out of the sewering business. But in the meantime, we have this one joint area where we've got 275 houses coming in here that I don't know if they have the ability to hit them with the betterment fee, or I believe it's part of the building permit process. And we need to identify what that fee should be. So again, we're going to try to work together to try to get.
And so the wastewater district does currently have a betterment fee in place. That policy is available on our website. I don't know it off the top of my head, I'm sorry.
It's like $5,000.
Yeah, something along those lines per unit, to help defray the cost of both the maintenance and the upkeep of any new sewage infrastructure that's being built by developers. So again, that protects the water district's interest, because obviously the increased capacity, you know, has maybe a negative effect on the overall maintenance and operation on our system ultimately. So yeah.
I have a question about capacity.
Yeah.
In my mind, capacity has two components. One is the physical size of the sewer lines that are running down that people tie into, and I have no clue what they are.
Right.
But I do know that we're looking at 500 units on Sousa Road, either side.
Right.
And the additional one is, everybody seems to think Tiverton, or not Tiverton, Fall River will take and accept anything we care to give them. Is that quite true?
So,
and that's all going to be at a price.
So I have to give you a frustrating answer and revert to, until I update my facilities plan, I really can't honestly tell you what our capacity is. I sort of have, you know, numbers in the back of my head. We all have a feel, right? If you might not have your checkbook in front of you, but you sort of know what your balance is. So again, I prefer to not comment on that without having real information in front of me. So I prefer to not answer.
But that would be
sorry.
some agreed upon calculation that
So-
Fall River is already allotted to you. You just don't know what's being drawn against it.
Right, currently, we're allotted 2 million gallons.
Okay.
This facilities plan says that we are at 1.3 with the current build-out. But keep in mind that this has the assumption built into it that there are only 4 units developed on each developable lot. So look at the plot. Regardless of how large it is, 4 units per developable lot. So that's a pretty poor assumption.
So the Bourne Mill
This really does need to be updated for us to give you a good answer on that. And I know that's a frustrating answer, and I'm sorry for that. But in order to protect everybody, that's the answer that I have to give.
So I have a follow-up question. Again, stop me if I'm drifting. It seems to me that this is a pretty important component of any development, and the process itself seems to be broken in the sense that the town can say, hey, there's a main there, we're just going to assume there's capacity,
Pump into it.
have at it. And then ultimately, the wastewater district, as a public utility, by the time that comes to them, they can't say yay or nay, they just say, okay, great, we're in trouble.
I don't think it works that way. I think right now, the planning board has been getting affirmations, and it may have been prior to Mark being the executive director, but I do believe that any project did get something from the wastewater district approving the use of the sewer system.
So, again, I'll restate it, but it's the letter of sewer availability, and what we have been saying to every developer, and we've been consistent in this for a number of years, any of the current list of developments, we have said, there is a main in the area that runs by abutting the property, and until we update our facilities plan, we're unsure as to whether or not we have capacity.
Well, that's generally enough for the planning board.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a problem.
Well, that's what I mean, is
So can we
the
write in
the
audit?
process is fundamentally broken. If the answer is basically, maybe.
We don't know.
We don't know, maybe, I don't know, then how can you approve a plan with an I don't know? Well, I understand
You're right.
that,
So
but.
this, to me, this is one of the ordinances, or
It is.
one of the things we need to address. The planning board cannot make a decision until they get an answer. And a permanent answer. And that will probably have to wait until you get your plan revised. Right.
As quick as we get something in before
Right.
around housing, the quicker we get this done.
How can they,
Right.
how can they legally approve something
They
if
do.
the answer is I don't know?
They do though. They do
Yeah.
though.
Well, they don't, it's not an answer, really, it just said this sewer availability doesn't go to the capacity, so that's, as long as they meet that requirement, that's where we're at. That's the law.
So what is it? Say that again?
So it basically says that there's capacity, right? That their letters from the entity says, we're a utility, we have there's a sewer line available for you.
There's a sewer line available.
They don't say
for
they
you.
have
They
capacity.
don't say they have capacity, but well,
It's a nebulous term.
That's the that's actually
And-
the problem.
Yes.
Because what happens in the
Come on up, Renee.
I'm sorry. The reason this whole water thing came out is because I happened to go to a water meeting and find out that we didn't have the capacity.
Yeah, I know.
And what was happening to the planning board is that they would get a letter saying that they had capacity, but it wasn't clear. And then all of a sudden, we were up to 90% of capacity, and that was the problem.
Well, that's,
And so, you know, there's the water, wastewater, and the water districts have to provide that information and have to have an up-to-date, thank you very much, I'm sure they really appreciate that, have to have an up-to-date data to be able to give the planning board the information, because I was at a lot of planning board meetings where I said,
oh, me too.
yeah,
But that's why I want everyone to understand that's why the moratorium is here, because these problems have been identified. And we have to have a solution in 6 months, obviously, but that's why the moratorium is here, because these problems were identified.
Absolutely.
And that's why we did what we did.
so can I just ask a question? Do you expect to have your plan updated in 6 months?
So I just started, I didn't realize that this even, I don't want to say I didn't realize how urgent the update was until we started hearing things about the moratorium. So now I understand that this is one of the top 5 things
And we
on my
have
plate right
some
now.
funds available.
Well, we don't have, Rhode Island Housing has.
No.
We're the applicant. No different than we've done, we have the hydrology study that got approved by Rhode Island
Right.
Housing. They have a direct connection between what is Weston and Sampson is the contractor and the water authorities and the State Water Resources Board and Rhode Island Housing. The town really has,
We can't
other
give
than
money.
facilitating the process of doing the loan, we don't write it. But if I can get the information, I can do the same thing. They'll
Right.
identify a engineering firm that will assist with them, that is on their MPA to do this, and they'll contract directly between them and the wastewater district, and they'll provide the funding, and the town really,
All right, correct me if I'm wrong, though. We give them a budget.
we give who a budget?
Wastewater.
No, we do not.
Oh, yes, we do.
No, we do not.
You're thinking of the on-site wastewater treatment thing.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, you're thinking
No,
of
that's
the.
in Public Works.
Yeah.
We take care of that.
Leroy has been here asking for,
Yeah, and we,
That tie, that was cut, that tie was cut.
oh,
They don't do it anymore.
no, we do that directly with Carmen, and we've had this,
oh, that's right, a couple of years ago. All right, I got it. Okay. I'm sorry, a lot goes on.
but either way, we can still facilitate the brokering of that process through Rhode Island Housing because it has a direct impact on housing being developed in the town of Tiverton.
Or you could give them the money to get the study done.
Right.
You could do that if you wanted to.
I can't just give the money, I don't have custody of it.
No, I understand, but if you have.
But in the budget-
If you wanted to make an appropriation to for them to get the study done.
That's what I'm saying,
you
we
can make
could
that
do
appropri-
that.
you can make
We
an
could take that out of opera, a
Oh, yeah,
casino.
but if there's money available at Rhode Island
Right,
Housing, let's try to grab that first.
Right, but that might take a
Us and
little.
our customers would really appreciate the funding, that'd be
But
awesome.
what I'm saying is, that may take longer than what we
If we can
have.
get the information, I can get that probably processed in about a week and a half or 2 weeks.
Because could we give them the money and then if they get it, they give it back to us?
No, they won't, because
that'd
then
be too
you don't.
crazy.
No, they're
you
gonna
don't
keep
have
that
the
money
for
because
the
they need the money. I know what their finances look like.
These monies were set aside specifically for the housing legislation that was done.
but we need
And this
to-
fits directly into it.
We need to keep in mind, we need this done.
Well, if it fails, then we'll do another route, we'll find
Yeah.
another way to fund it.
Okay.
But it
Madam
needs
Chair.
to get done.
So, can I just ask, sewer and water go together, right? So don't we need to know what our water capacity is?
So there is a study being done for that. There's a
That is-
hydrology
that
study
is going on.
being done. We actually, from the planning, our planner, contract planner, myself had met with the water authorities, the State Water Resources Board, and we agreed to come up with a scope of work to do these hydrology studies to confirm what the capacities were.
Yep.
And within that, we'll get some information for the planning board. That doesn't necessarily mean we'll have all the information that we need, but we'll have enough to start.
To start
And then
this,
we will need to
okay.
continue.
Because I agree, because as liaison, Councilor Edwards and I, to the planning and zoning, they get told there's enough. It's like having a party and saying, you have 100 people, how much food do you bring? Enough. Like, we need
Yeah,
numbers.
This is not critical of the planning board, believe me, they've done a phenomenal job of what they have.
Oh, I'm not, and I'm not criticizing
never
the
told them
planning
they couldn't
board.
just-
I'm just saying, they're flying without instruments. They don't, they're flying blind, right, Rosemary? They are.
And I'd just like to add, we have reached out to the planning board as well, and they are on our agenda for our February meeting, so
Oh, good.
we are meeting with the planning board as well. So again, my effort is to make sure that I'm, in open communications with all the partners in the town, everybody that we brush up against. I want to have a good, productive working relationship, and there's no reason why, we can't move things forward together and have things be win-win, so.
Okay,
Okay?
Madam Chair,
yes.
one more question for you. Sorry, I just can't remember.
No, I'm not.
I just can't remember. Does wastewater actually have a meter for what's going into Fall River? Or, because I know when it comes out of your house, we base it off of the water gallons used, and that's what the bill is generated on. But do we actually know what's going out of our pipe into Fall River?
So that's an interesting question. That's what my meeting this morning with Paul was. We have a number of metered locations throughout our system. We have some technical difficulties with certain locations. Our ability to meter them is compromised, not great, we're not able to do it. So again, that's something else that we're working on. Fall River strongly wants to have real numbers of water coming in. They're not thrilled that we're basing our billing on usage. For one, because there's a lag. We get a bill from the water department, that's from the previous quarter. We get it, we submit the payment to Fall River for the previous quarter, so they would prefer to have up to the minute data, and billing. And again, there are some technical hurdles that we need to overcome, and I'm working with my engineer to try and clear those hurdles. But again, that's also at the top of the list.
I raise it because Fall River allots 2 million gallons. Fall River tomorrow could be like, guys, you did 2 million gallons, and we'd have no way of knowing.
Well, wasn't there a couple of years ago a move by them to get us to replace some of those meters? Or
Yes,
rebuild them or something?
and that's
Yeah.
what the meeting this morning was. So
And it didn't happen.
we're doing our best to work with them again in a positive way so that we can get them the meters that they require in working manner and get our billing correct and get our usage correct, and it'll feed into our facilities plan as well.
Also, I'm going to out him because we're looking to do a hydrology study, and somebody here was a hydrologist for like 17 years.
You found me on LinkedIn.
Yeah, of course you did.
I worked for U.S. Geological Survey for 16 years, 17 years.
I'll have some good insight as to how we should deal with the water authorities.
I might have a little
Yes,
bit
you
of
will.
knowledge, water quality background, so yeah. Look me up on LinkedIn, I'm pretty awesome.
I just reached out, I just connected to you, so.
And I don't want to disparage the water authorities. They've been, they've come to the table, they've started discussions. So we all need to be working together in the same vein to protect the interests of the taxpayers of this town, so.
Any other questions before we let Mark go home?
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Does anybody want this copy?
I have it on.
Please.
Yeah, I do.
There's a.
I'll get copies.
The copy that is online is like a track changes, that the track changes were never settled, so it's really hard to read. So if you'd like a clean copy, and does anybody want a business card?
Yeah, might as well.
I'll just give a pile and you guys can hand them out.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You guys have a great night, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Rick.
DPW Director Rogers, discussion and possible vote to approve one-year contract renewal with GS Lawn and Garden for 2024 specified recreation facility and turf management service. Hello.
Good evening. Quick couple of corrections, and I appreciate everybody's efforts, but the 90% of the time, the biggest contaminant, and I would like anybody reading the minutes and watching the video, the biggest contaminant on recycle 90+% of the time
What are you talking?
is plastic bags, plastic film, plastic bags.
Right.
So I certainly have mentioned moisture, but it's not the leading cause. So.
All right, you're way off topic, but okay, go
But there's
ahead.
there's a bag ban, so.
He has been dying to say that. Go ahead.
So that'll clear itself up.
Thank you, John. Yes, Denise, we would like to renew the bid for turf management services, and the prices are staying the same as in 2022 and 2023.
Any questions for Rick? Like to entertain a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I motion that we approve the contract renewal with GS Lawn and Garden for 2024 specified rec facility and turf management services as recommended by the director.
Second.
I have a motion in 2 seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
I would just say, I didn't realize until I looked at this how many areas they do. I was thinking it was just the recreational areas, and there's way more.
Yes. Thank you.
DPW Director Rogers, discussion and possible vote to approve, DPW Rogers, discussion and possible vote to approve budget transfers, $3,000 from account 88406749 preventative maintenance to account 88406760 Portage John.
Madam Chair.
$3,000 from 88406749 preventive maintenance to account 88406765 rec areas maintenance and repair. Yes, John.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the transfers as requested by the director.
Second.
Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Thank you all.
Thanks, Rick. Administrator Carter, discussion and possible vote to award contracts to DPW, TFD, and TBD surplus equipment vehicles to Excel Recycling.
So based on the bids that came in, they had a higher bidder, so I recommend that we award the bid to Excel.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Motion to award the contract as requested by the administrator.
Do I have a second? Any further discussion? Motion's been made in second. All those in favor? Unanimous. Administrator Carter, Fire Chief Bailey, discussion regarding the recent loss of senior staff through retirement and what the department is doing concerning promotions.
I'll defer to the chief, but I did think it was important he knew what was going on with respect to staff.
Sure. I'd like to start by first recognizing the two captains, long-serving captains that retired at the end of December, Captain Bob Yanyan and Captain Comito. It's a combined 53 years of experience with the Tiverton Fire Department, so I wanted to thank them publicly. So with that being said, that created 2 vacancies in the captain ranks. We have an established captain's promotional list and an established lieutenant's promotional list, so we're moving people up according to the list, which is now going to create 2 vacancies in the firefighter ranks.
Yep.
We swore in 3 trainees this morning, but we're still shorthanded.
How many positions open now?
So we lost 10 members this year, 8 to other fire departments and 2 retirements. We were able to replace 3, and then with these 3, that's going to place us down 4.
So it places down 4.
4.
Do we have?
But we also have a lieutenant out on unpaid administrative leave. We have somebody out IOD, so we are still in a
Do we
deficit.
have anyone in the academy? Do we have?
Yeah, we have, we're slated to send, right now, we're finishing up the process, and we're slated to send 2 recruits to the Rhode Island Fire Academy at the end of February for their 12-week training.
So
They would come on in June.
So that's
And we're still
2 more.
looking for some laterals.
And we're still looking for qualified applicants. We're constantly looking.
Yeah, well, for years. And we're still.
This was up this morning.
And we're still doing laterals.
Right. We're still looking and actively recruiting, actively looking. I check the app daily to see if there's any qualified candidates.
So we're essentially down half a shift.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the foreseeable future, overtime will be high.
It'll be high.
It won't be as high as it's been.
Well, it's going to take a little while. The 3 that we swore in are going through their onboarding training. It's going to take a few weeks before they go to the line. We also had a probationary firefighter that we started in November that resigned as of Friday for personal reasons, so it's constantly in flux.
Might I suggest that we plug in our retired firefighter here as a volunteer?
No, he can't.
I can drive the truck.
I was just gonna say, it's about all
Can't,
we
you
can
can't
do.
buy, according to the contract, you can't.
You can't do anything.
Unfortunately, that's the way it works.
Okay.
Nor does he want to.
Any questions for the chief?
None. Oh, sorry.
No, Chief, do you have the authority, or have you done temporary transfers to maintain a balance in the shifts?
They'll be coming out this week, temporary transfers to move people accordingly based on the promotions. And
temporary balances.
Exactly.
Yeah, Dave, we've been doing that all along, because if you have no vacancies in one of the shifts, and you're paying over, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'm just saying, rather than 4
Yeah,
overtimes on
lateral
one shift,
moves.
there's temporary
Yeah,
balances.
yeah.
So he's also been utilizing minimum manning limits to, try to keep the numbers down. So it is what it is.
John, did you want, no, okay. Deb, any questions? Jay?
No, it's just still not good.
Dennis? Nope. Well, it's improving, and we're doing the best we can.
Well, I just wanted you to be aware of it, and I thought it was an appropriate time, especially with we are promoting some people. There'll be a whole lateral change of people moving up, which is good for the staff who are there. They do work hard, and they are commended for the work that they do. It's.
Motion been made, second, all those in favor? Okay. Councilor John Edwards.
Can I speak on that, please?
We just closed it.
I know, but you really need to extend the end of it
We did.
to what?
Oh, no, she wanted to.
2026.
No, it needs to be 2028. Because the Battle of Rhode Island took place in 2028, and that's the 250th. And Tiverton was very instrumental in that.
Well, we changed it to 2020. All right, well,
It aligns with the states.
What is
it
the
aligns
state
with what the state did.
deadline?
But the state is only incorporating the Declaration of Independence
Right.
250th. We need to extend our Tiverton quincentennial.
We can put it back on and see if everyone agrees.
Can we do that?
We can put it back on.
Yeah, your own commission, yeah.
Can we,
Any one of us can make a motion to reconsider for the next agenda, and then we'll just make the alterations then, right?
Yeah,
That would be the appropriate way?
yeah.
Okay. Because it was unanimous that just passed it, so literally any one of us could do it.
I was here to talk about it, and you went so fast. And
My apologies.
I had told Mike in an email, because I was hoping to be here after my historic cemetery.
All right, this,
And that.
yeah, well, I
I
didn't.
remember reading it.
Okay. All right. Councilor Edwards, the fifth, discussion possible vote on boards and commissions reappointment policies.
So,
You, John, yeah.
Madam Chair, I'm going to make a motion that we table this just because on the agenda it says discussion and possible vote for the board and commission reappointment policies. My intent was to revisit the entirety of the policy.
Okay. Well, did you do an agenda thing? You did an agenda, yeah. I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me.
The entirety of because this is limited, the agenda item
I
is
see what
limited
you're
in
saying.
scope, and
Yeah.
there were
All right,
other
we'll
items that I
table
wanted to
the
address, so.
meeting. Clerk Shabbat, 2024 annual calendar, discussion possible vote regarding April 22nd, 2024. No, I'm sorry.
No.
Update on.
Madam
property-
Clerk.
You know, there's something wrong with my eyesight right now. Update on property fraud alert service and request funds to advertise new service.
Yes, in December, we, working with our vendor, Avenue, we updated the system to allow for a property fraud alert service. I'd like to advertise that to the public so that they're aware of how to sign up for this service. And I'm just going to pass this out to you guys. It's on the website, and it does have some helpful tips as to how to sign up. And basically, what you should do if you do get notified, what steps you should take.
It's very user-friendly.
Do you have to sign up?
In order to get a notification, you have to sign up. So it's an individual basis. You can sign up with an email address and a phone number. They highly recommend the email address.
All right.
So I'd like to advertise that, and you have the advertisement in the packet to notify the public that this service is available.
Madam Chair,
It does, yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that
It
we,
doesn't say possible vote, though. It doesn't say, it says update
And
and
then-
request. Okay, yeah, go ahead,
Request to
John.
advertise.
Yeah, okay.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the funds for the clerk to advertise this thing.
Can we do that?
This thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't say vote on
It
this.
says request funds
It
to
says
advertise.
request funds.
So we can, okay.
The lawyer says we're good.
It should say possible vote, but we'll just ignore that. Motion been made in second. All those in favor? Now, Joan White, I said your name here because it was you that wanted to bring up that date, right? April 22nd. Annual calendar discussion and possible vote regarding April 22nd? Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Passover.
It's Passover.
It's Passover.
I wasn't aware of it's basically 2 days that are impacted, April 22nd and 23rd. So you can, if you could change the date of your meeting for that second meeting in April to the 24th, or just
The
carry it
24th
over
is
to
a
the 20.
Thursday.
Wednesday.
A Wednesday.
Yeah,
What is April 22nd?
I think we should.
Passover?
Passover.
I think we should do, I think we should do the 24th, because at that 29th meeting, that's around budget time, we have other things. I think we're gonna need that workshop meeting, to tell you the truth. So I think moving it to April 24th would be the best choice. Is that okay for everybody?
Have fun.
Anyone want to make a motion to change the April 22nd meeting to April 24th?
So moved.
Do I have a
Second.
second? Motion been made and second. All those in favor? Okay. And this is me. Council President requests special meeting regarding casino gaming and American Recovery. I'd like to do it at the end of February because we're hoping we'll find out about the grants that are pending for the landfill by then. So what I was thinking was April 19th is President's Day. I was thinking of April 20th. It's a Tuesday. Is that okay with everyone?
I'm sorry, which?
April 20th.
April 20th is a Saturday.
President's.
That's a
Oh,
Saturday and I
I'm
will
sorry,
not be there.
February 20th, I'm sorry.
February 20th?
February
Tuesday.
20th. It's a Tuesday, the 19th is President's Day. Anyone have any objections?
When is school vacation?
That would be school vacation.
That would be school vacation. You want to do it the 27th on a Tuesday? We do have a
Back to
meeting.
backs? No, actually, no, I veto the 27th because that's wifey's birthday.
Okay. I think we had a meeting last time on her birthday sometime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
never again.
Yes, I can remember that, because we called her and wished her a happy birthday. All right, April 20th, is that okay? Are you going away? February. I keep saying
April
April.
20th, I will not be in the country, but
I won't either.
February
I won't
20th.
either, actually. Okay,
20th or 27th?
20th,
the 20th,
Tuesday the 20th. Tuesday,
at
February
7
20th.
o'clock. And I'll notify the school committee.
I won't be here the 27th anyhow, so.
Well,
I'll be here the 27th.
Yeah.
You mean, I won't, I can send them, but I can't be here that day either, but it's.
Yeah, that's fine. It's casino and opera money distribution. No, I don't think you were. Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session, Town Administrator, Rhode Island General Law 425, personnel, discussion with Fire Chief related to his review and process of recommendation, evaluation of prospective candidates for the position of Deputy Fire Chief.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Dave?
Yes.
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 Taking a 5-minute recess.